Live across the Ouse Valley.
On FM and online.
This is HCR 104 FM News.
Time.
This is Saturday Sports on HCR 104 FM.
Welcome to Saturday Sport this afternoon here on HCR 104 FM. A fantastic show on our hands once again, JD. What can we expect for the next 4 hours?
Yes, well, we have a very special guest coming in the studio. James Acraman, the speed stacking extraordinaire. He will be on very soon. Also coming up, we have got cricket talk, some local cricket fixtures to talk about, lots going on in that. And we're going to be finding out how Peter Moore's first game in charge of England cricket has got underway. They had a friendly in Scotland, in Aberdeen. We're going to be talking more about that later in the show.
Yeah, of course. A big show, isn't it, JD? So much to talk about. James Acraman coming on for speed stacking. And the GB squad went to Korea last week. Of course, we'll be talking to him about that. So much to talk about. We're going to have all the football localised and the last game of the Premier League as well coming up tomorrow.
Final weekend. It's all going to be good.
Absolutely, and talking of sports news stories of the week, the Premier League B side, is it going to be a league? That's a big talk in the FA at the moment. Of course, all the local sports still to come, including orienteering, pigeon racing, cricket, and a lot more. If you want to get in touch this afternoon, you can. Give us a call 01480 414 104. That's Huntingdon 414 104. Or you can tweet us at HCRFem. Or you can text HCR, then space your message to 60300. That's 60300, and text messages charged at your standard network rate. And of course, we want questions in for James Acraman, don't we, James?
Yeah, we do. We've been trying to practice our speed stacking all week, and he's going to be showing us some skills. So hopefully that's going to go well.
Absolutely right. We'll be back very shortly. James Acraman coming up next with his speed stacking, and he's going to show us how to do it as well. We look forward to that very shortly here on Saturday Sports. You have Isaac and JD till 6 this afternoon. Welcome back to the show this afternoon here on HCR 104 FM on Saturday Sports at 6 o'clock this afternoon. Mr. Stuart Lunn's going to be live at the Motorsport this afternoon. Motorsport magazine coming up about 4 o'clock this afternoon. But first, before we look ahead to the kickoffs at 3 o'clock and the last day of the Premier League tomorrow, we've got a very special guest live in the studio, James Acraman. I hope I said that right. Is that right?
Yes, that is.
It's great to have you on the show. A sport which is described as speed stacking or even sports stacking, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mostly pronounced as sports stacking.
And so, do you take it sports stacking or speed stacking? Is it just the same?
Sometimes it's the same. I usually call it sports stacking, and so does the other stackers from other countries.
Absolutely, and you've just taken part in the World Championships over in Korea, which is absolutely outstanding achievement, it's got to be said, for Team GB. But regarding an organisation, Great Britain don't have one, do it? It's the nearest one's Ireland.
Yeah, I think that is, yeah.
But why is that? Is it not as big a sport over here?
Well, we're actually trying our best to make it a big sport in the UK by going around to other schools in Hertfordshire and many other places. Absolutely brilliant.
So you've just taken part in the World Championships. Tell us how that all came about.
It's quite a big story to say, actually. Friday is when we usually have the meet and greet, where we meet other stackers and so on. Saturday we have the preliminaries, which is the qualifying, where all the stackers try to get down to the top 10 to go on to the finals on Sunday.
Absolutely brilliant. And for the listeners that don't know, speed stacking, can you just give us an overview on what it's all about? Because there's a variety of cups there, all different aerodynamics on different cups. And is there 10 cups per or 12 cups per stacking sheet or whatever you would call it?
Yeah, usually it's 12 or 9. Speed stacking is a sport where you have 12 specially designed cups and you stack them into 3 different sequences of the 333 stack, the 363 stack, and the cycle stack.
Actually, brilliant. So just to start with the 333 stack, what's that all about? Can you explain that to us?
The 333 stack is a very easy stack. Basically it is. You just basically have the 3, the 3, and the 3.
And you've got to put them up in a tier, haven't you, just to explain it to everyone, and then kind of bring it down as well, so it's all in on top of each other. Each cup at the end of the stacking process, it's all on top of each other. Yeah. That's brilliant. JD.
And I understand you have to unstack them and stack them in a certain way as well, don't you?
Yeah.
Are they different coloured cups with different levels of difficulty?
Yeah.
How, on an average day, how long would you say that you trained to practice these?
I practice for about 2 hours a day. I used to practice for about 3 hours a day, but since I've been getting a lot taller and the table height gets a bit shorter for me, so I practice for about 2 hours a day.
You've just come back from South Korea. You've got another competition in New Japan in Taiwan on the 23rd and 24th of August. How is the preparation going for that?
Well, we're still planning on seeing if we can make it to next year's World Championships.
Absolutely. And regarding for the money side of the support, is there sponsorship now involved in speed stacking, so it can kind of group together and pay for your travel to go to these World Championships, or is it still now a lot of sports, whether you're in the Olympics now or amateur, you've got to fund that yourself? What's it like in speed stacking?
Speed Stacks actually sponsors me. They try to help us get to those countries and so on.
Absolutely. So the sponsorship is available then in speed stacking?
Pretty much, yeah.
Limited, yeah, absolutely. Because, like I say, with a lot of sports, when we have them come on the show, we had a snooker player on last week. He's just gone to the World Championship, and he said that the sponsorship is so limited, and you've got to pay for your own fare now to get there, where the sponsors and management did pay for that. So I don't know how it kind of worked in speed stacking. So they do kind of sponsor you and pay for your fare to get there, which is great.
Yeah.
Got about half the price for the fare to get out there. That's roughly how it.
Absolutely brilliant. Half the price. Wow, that's brilliant. And speed stacking is a worldwide sport, isn't it? And a variety of countries take part. And I've been tipped that USA are one of the best countries at speed stacking. Is that still correct?
Yes, that is. They've got many fast stackers. It was actually first originated in America.
Absolutely brilliant. And regarding the World Championships and speed stacking games, I know you can do it individually, you can do it in pairs like you do with your dad, but they even do relays as well, don't they?
Yeah.
Explain how they do the relays. It's sort of like a tag and then they move on and do the sequence again. How does that work?
With the speed stacking with the relays, you actually have to have before it was a bit of a certain distance away and you had to tag her with the others. The new rules, you cannot tag them and you have to stand away about 7 or 9 feet away or so. It's a bit harder, but I hold the UK record for the 363 relay.
Absolutely brilliant. And have you got any other records to talk about for the UK? Because you got the best UK time in career, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, I got 3 new UK records for my age group. Jake Emberton used to hold those times back in 2010, and then I managed to overtake him.
Absolutely brilliant. For there's 3 different sequences. You all have different times. For the hardest sequence, you have a 5-second time, don't you, now?
Yeah, I got 5.96 on Tuesday. I did.
Absolutely brilliant. What's the world record now for that sequence? Do you know?
The world record is 5.3 seconds, held by William Morrell.
Oh, wow, absolutely brilliant. And just lastly, before we move to part 2 and talk more about your training and yourself and speed stacking, it's a worldwide sport, but how do you think the participation in speed stacking has come along? Because obviously it's huge in the American countries such as USA, Canada and whatnot. Is it starting to become more official now in Europe? I know it's in Ireland, but in the UK itself as well?
It is starting to become a bit more famous since I tried to introduce it to nearly the whole of the UK.
Absolutely, because when we said you're coming on the show, all the listeners were like, oh wow, I've never heard about this before, and you probably get told that it's not a sport or whatever and stuff, but it is classed as a sport, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a sport. I got told in my school like people saying to me like, well, it's not an actual sport, and I ended up having to explain to them that it is a sport because it exercises your brain, it exercises your arms. I actually had very poor upper body strength because I refused to do any sport because of my heart condition, which I discovered about in 2009, and I was trying to find a sport where I can actually start to build up my upper body strength, and then I finally found it.
Absolutely brilliant, because not just agility, it's all eye coordination as well, arm movements, and is there anything else that it kind of works on as well?
It actually also works on proprioception, which we only discovered about back in like 2012 time or so.
Absolutely brilliant. And we always ask our guests in sport, is there much ladies' participation in the world of sport? Because it's a big talking point. It has been on the show for a couple of months now. Is there much lady participation at all in speed stacking or sport stacking, how you like to call it? Is it the same? Is it quite 50-50?
Yeah, it is a bit of a 50-50. There are some girl stackers. There's even been other girls that have tried to apply to me to see if they can join Team Great Britain.
Absolutely brilliant, fantastic. Right, we'll be back with part 2 with James very shortly here on HCR 104 FM. Welcome back to the show this afternoon here on HCR 104 FM. Right, we're with James Acraman in the studio live here on Saturday Sports on HCR 104 FM. And JD's joined us on the panel. We'll hear from Stuart Lunn later in the show, and Richard Hughes as well from the Hunts Post editor as well, regarding the end of season review for our non-league action in East Anglia as well. So first of all, let's go back to part 2 with Mr. James Acraman for speed stacking. James, it's great to have you on the show this afternoon. You've just showed us just off air on those couple of songs how to speed stack. I think I got a time of 1 minute 23, which I guess in the World Championship, that's quite an awful time, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what sort of times can we see at the World Championship? Because we can see times up to 5 seconds for the cycle that I did.
Yeah, I mean, I got 687 in competitions, but people can do it up to like 5 seconds and so on.
And just to run through the cycle, it's one of the hardest sequences of speed stacking. So you kind of start off with 3 cups, and you put them up in a pyramid and move on to is it a 4-3-2-1? Is it?
It's basically the 3, and the 3, and then you just down stack it.
Absolutely.
The cycle is 3-6-3.
Oh yeah, the 3-6-3, the 6-6, and the 1-10-1.
Super.
I've got to say, it's my turn next after this, and I've got to say I'm dreading it. I don't think I'm going to be very good, but oh well.
Never mind. I mean, I've been there before when I was first starting it off, and I was just not very good at it.
Just talk about yourself then. What age did you start speed stacking?
I was nearly 13 when I first started.
And why did you start? What made you get into the sport?
A really good friend of mine introduced it to me whilst he was trying to teach me badminton to help me with my hand-eye coordination.
And it's, I suppose it's you. There's a lot of technical skill involved with it. It looks like it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm not good at my hand-eye coordination, so it should be fun. And what is the best time you got on each different? I don't know what do you call it? Sequences.
Yeah. The 3-3-3. My best is 1.7. The 3-6-3 is 2.2, and the cycle is 5.9.
And you recently went on Blue Peter to promote yourself.
Yeah, I did.
How was that feeling going on such a massive show?
I was a little bit nervous at first when I was rehearsing because I didn't want to mess up at all, and then on the actual one when I went live, I just really nailed it.
And you've also been on a lot of media recently. On ITV News, you were on there the other week. Yeah, I was. That was just that was a thrill to see. And as I said, Isaac and I have been watching some of your YouTube videos on your channel. I appreciate it. And they are really good. I mean, just it still astonishes me now the quickness. Thank you very much.
So brilliant. Before the show, we asked people to get in touch through the station's Twitter at HRFM for questions for James. Just pick out some of the best ones here on the Twitter. I hope you don't mind if we answer these questions, James, but this one's from Tom, and he says, regarding the stacking mats, he knows you have a stacking special mat that you use to have the time on. What other equipment involves in speed stacking?
Basically the tournament display to show that you are actually doing it right, and if they check if the timer's not stuffing up.
That's really brilliant. Next question. This one's from Sam, and he says, what's the benefits of speed stacking? He finds it so interesting. Hopefully he's going to try it.
Oh, wow. To Sam, the benefits are good hand-eye coordination and consistency.
That's really brilliant. Brian says this started also as a hobby for you, he says. I think that's right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's become more of an obsession to me. I like do it every day, and it kind of drives my house mad.
Absolutely. And this one is from Melanie, and she says, what routine do you go weekly regarding speed stacking? You know you train for about an hour or two a day. Is there any special other training you do for speed stacking?
Usually for Melanie, I usually practice at home, or if we have any Team GB meetups, I practice there. And if I'm like going on holiday, like if I'm training for the World Championships or if I'm somewhere else for summer, I usually practice in those hotels. And also the minis.
How's it going?
We just got a tweet in there from Tom who's tweeted into the studio, sorry. What are the rules and regulations around sports stacking or speed stacking?
The rules, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, the rules. Basically, with the 333 upstack, when you upstack, once you finish the upstack, you must always go back to go to the beginning from where you upstack to downstack to make it a clean.
And I was thinking regarding the cups, because they're all made differently. Some have holes at the bottom of the cup fully, and then some have just small holes and bigger holes as well. Is this to make sure that the cup doesn't stick, isn't it? I guess
that's correct, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And I was going to say, whether you're in the World Championship or you're in a game, has the cups ever stuck for you before?
In the first World Championships, when I was practicing the 333, I think they did kind of stick a little bit.
Absolutely brilliant. And coming up this year and for the next year, you're hoping to enter the World Championships again, of course. Is there any other matches or games that you'll be competing in until then?
If next year will take place in America, I will be competing against world champions, which will be quite a challenge for me.
Brilliant.
Well, you know,
with the World Championships, of course, coming up, it's in America, then it moves to somewhere else, doesn't it? It's all down to the organisations, and it was going to be held in the UK, wasn't it? But that never went ahead because of the royal wedding.
Yeah, that was back in 2011. They actually had a documentary movie called Stacker, which you can buy off speedstacks.com. They actually mentioned saying that they were going to originally have it in the UK, but due to the royal wedding, they then had to cancel it and move it to Texas.
Yeah, absolutely right. To be back very shortly with James about speed stacking or sports stacking, whichever you like to pronounce it, here shortly here on HCR 104. But first, let's get the last part of the interview with Mr. James Acraman in for sports stacking or speed stacking. James, I really haven't decided what I wanted to call it yet, really, sport or speed stacking, but what's best?
It's actually best to call it sports stacking because it is a sport, basically.
You're sports stacking with speed stacks. The cups are called speed stacks, but the actual sport is called sports stacks. So you sports stack with speed stacks.
Absolutely. And Roger, you're James's dad. You could be classed as management or even a coach, couldn't you, really?
Not a coach, no. These guys are far faster than me. They know far more about the sport than I do. I am the GB manager, so I just help organise. I arrange the meetings for them where they can all come around from the UK, stack together, and then I'll also help them get to the World Championships.
And you guys are from Hertfordshire, so I'm assuming the GB meetings are in Hertfordshire as well?
They are, yes. We hold them in Stevenage.
Absolutely brilliant. JD?
Can anyone get involved in this? But I mean, how easy is it to I mean, you talked about the cost. I mean, it's relatively cheap, isn't it?
It is a very cheap sport in one sense. I mean, we were just saying earlier that roughly you're looking at about £20, 15 to £20 for a set of cups. And then with the mat and timer, the whole thing would be about £50 roughly. And for that, you could become a world champion. And there's not many sports where for £50 outlay, you could become a world champion.
No, there isn't. I mean, many sports are affected by the weather, but speed stacking, of course, not. I mean, the other thing that did interest me that you mentioned during the last break is that you said the table was a bit too low here.
Yes.
What is the average height of a table that you do use?
From memory, it's between 28 and 32 inches it has to be. So, James, because the taller you get, the more disadvantaged you are, because you're having to stack on a low table. There's one chap, the two powerhouses in sports stacking are America and Germany. And in Germany, there's a chap who's over 7 feet tall who does sports stacking. And this poor chap is having to bend over double over the table to try and do the sports stacking.
Yeah, and I was coming on to my next question. Are there any countries that are well known in Ireland? You mentioned Germany and USA. Yeah, there's the two powerhouses. The Asian countries are also really, really strong now as well. And this is what James found really challenging in the World Championships, because it was in Asia. And the Asian countries, the Philippines, China, Taiwan, really, really strong countries. And there were 50% more stackers at this World Championships than there normally have been, because it was held in their home country.
Absolutely. Regarding Asia, you just mentioned there that becoming very good at speed stacking. It seems that in where you have a masterpiece of sport, where there's a lot of agility or the development in the sports, say like snooker, it's all eye coordination, etc. All the eye coordination sports, China seems to be coming through the ranks, especially in those type of sports, especially like snooker and speed stacking, isn't it?
Yeah, they are very strong. They're really passionate about it. The other thing that really helps the other countries is that in many countries, in Germany, is carried out in most schools, and in America, I believe, it's actually a compulsory sport. So that really helps them as well. So they've got a huge number of stackers in America, because it's just carried out like we may play cricket over here.
Absolutely. And I was reading somewhere it takes place in about 40,000 schools across the world. So it's quite a heavy speed stacking development really going on right across the board.
Yeah, there is. In this country, it's not anywhere near like that. There are a lot of schools which are beginning to do sports stacking because they realise that there are a lot of benefits to it. It does seem to help rewire the brain and help build up, because you're crossing the midpoint in the body. You're using your right hand, which is controlled by the left side of your brain, and the left side of your brain controlling the right hand. That really, really helps a child's development.
That was going to lead me on to my next question, actually. Do you think maybe speed stacking will be coming into the PE curriculum in schools in the UK sooner rather than later?
We are actually trying to do that by showing schools in Britain speed stacking.
Yeah, we've gone out to a number of schools in Suffolk, Norfolk, and around in Hertfordshire as well, to try and sort of help the schools which are starting to introduce the sports stacking into their schools, just to help and encourage them, and then they can see and meet James and, get some encouragement from that.
Absolutely. And I've noticed that you've got your medals across the table here, James. Can you just run us through them? Because I believe, looking at the flags across the neck brace on there, there's some from Germany and even from Korea as well, from the World Championships.
Yeah. The first three medals, which show these leaves on the bronze thing, which is from Germany because it also has its flag. The one medal I got from America from the 363 relay, which I got the UK record for. I did not make it to the 333, 363 all cycle in Florida because it was just such a challenging country to try and go against my age group.
They also combined all the age groups as well, which was really hard. So then you're up against really, really, really fast stackers.
I was going to ask that. They judge it in age groups, aren't they? So what category age group are you in? Do they do it a 2-year jump, or is it in each year, is it?
When I first started, I was in just the 15-year-old age group. Then when I was 16 and went to Florida, they made it from 15 to 16. And this year, it was from 17 to 18 for me because I'm 17 years old.
Brilliant, JD.
And what age do you turn pro? I mean, I don't know. Do you turn pro in sports?
No,
stacking?
not in this sport. There isn't the money to be made to be pro. But the best speed stackers or sports stackers in the world are around about the 11 to 13-year-old age group. Oddly enough, they are the fastest age group. So it's a sport which, if you can get in at 7 or 8 years old, you could be easily the world champion when you're in your 11, 12, 13. That's where you peak.
Is that a name for you, James, to be the world champion?
I would have to say a bit more of a UK champion. I'm not like fully the world champion. I'm not like William Morrell or William Polly or Stephen Peruganen.
But as and when it becomes an Olympic sport...
Yeah.
Yeah, do you think it will ever become an Olympic sport? Because every sports person we get in the studio, like, I really hope the sport becomes an Olympic sport, etc. The credibility it will show on the sport itself. Do you think it could be an Olympic sport with the input from other countries around the world?
We're actually thinking, I mean, the whole of WSSA, including Bob Fox, we are trying to make it a proper Olympic sport. We are.
There is a sports stacking Junior Olympics which is held by the WSSA, so you can go out and compete in the Junior Olympics for sports stacking. Whether it'll become a full-blown Olympic sport on the main Olympics, I don't know. There's so many sports out there.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, good luck for the next World Championships. I'm sure you'll do absolutely fantastic, and I hope you can break more UK world records, of course. And good luck for this year with the rest of the matches. Do you call it games or matches? What's the right terminology for that?
It's kind of
tournaments.
It's more of a tournament. Also, if you want to follow me on Twitter, please follow me at James Acraman. And also, if you want to check out my speed stacking videos, then please go on youtube.com/speedstackingcaspian or search up James Acraman speed stacking.
Absolutely, they're absolutely phenomenal to watch. We were watching them this morning.
They are really good.
Thank you.
Absolutely brilliant, and hopefully we can get a video posted on the website here at HCR 104 FM regarding showing James in action on speed stacking as well. So thank you very much for coming in, and really watch out for James Acraman in speed stacking to come through the years, because he's an absolute great guest to have on the show. Thanks for coming on, and of course your dad as well, Roger.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for inviting us to go to Huntingdon Radio.
Welcome back to HCR 104 FM here on Saturday Sport till 6 o'clock this afternoon. We're going to have Richard Hughes on the line at 3:30 for the season overview in football. We'll be just talking about speed stacking for the last hour here on HCR 104 FM. James Acraman live in the studio with his dad, Roger. Great to have them on this show. It's been a really insight into sport stacking as the sporting terminology for the game it is. And what a great guide they were indeed. JD, still more to come on the show this afternoon.